Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio.
And there she is, Elizabeth Dutton.
There I am.
Hey.
Zaron Burnett, what's up?
How you doing?
Good.
Long time no see.
I'm here. I live here now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So I just had the weekend.
Yeah, I lost the keys to my place, and so I've been staying here.
That's what that smell is.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's nice. It's like a bouquet. It's like, what is that, like potpourri?
Yeah.
It's really nice.
I've been eating potpourri. Ran out of groceries.
I got a question for you beyond that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know what's ridiculous?
Oh, yeah, I do know what's ridiculous.
What?
Okay, so Desi Segundo the third on Instagram.
Okay, I like this. The third,
sent us
from
something,
1/3 to another.
1/3 to the next, sent us something like, hey, Zaron's going to love/hate this. And it was the Vulgar Chef's account on Instagram, where the guy, it looks like he pureed hot dogs and put them into a caulking gun. And just so he could talk about like laying your cock into buns, and then, but he did it and he ate it.
Pureed hot dogs.
Yeah.
Like a hot dog paste.
Yeah. And so I was like, this is amazing, but you can't buy it.
Oh, well, thank
So it's just
goodness.
his own private twisted mashup.
Yeah.
But then Lindsay Max on Instagram came through with something, because you like Nutella, right?
I do. I love Nutella.
Well,
Are you about to ruin Nutella?
There's this company, Maxime Frederic, teamed up with Louis Vuitton to offer basically Nutella, a chocolate spread. You can get Louis Vuitton chocolate spread.
Wait, what?
It's French hazelnuts and blue vanilla from Reunion Island blend in this chocolate spread to create a gourmet journey of delectable smoothness, making each spoonful a moment of delight imbued with childhood memories.
Spoonful?
It's a very, like, understated jar, but it's got like a little bit of the logo on there. The jar looks very small. It's 35 euros. Ooh. One thing that I was interested in finding out is it full of palm oil like Nutella? Yeah. No. Roasted hazelnuts, hazelnut pieces, Peruvian milk chocolate. But then they don't tell you what else. And that's 39%, 9%, 6%.
That's not enough percents.
No, it doesn't add up. And the rest is a mystery. Yes. You're building a mystery.
I think we know what that mystery is.
I don't want to know. Anyway, yeah. So Louis Vuitton hazelnut spread. They also do like chocolate bars. So if you want to spend 18 euros, 20 euros on a chocolate bar.
That doesn't, honestly...
For clout?
That is not the worst mashup you've thrown at me.
No, it's not. It's just, it's like this perverse...
It's expensive.
It's, everything branded. And I don't know if it's any good, but like, it's got the logo on it.
Well, that's what you're paying for, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Well, if you got a second, I got something ridiculous for you.
Yes, sir.
Now, you know how there's no honor among thieves?
Yeah, sure.
The same could be said about professional gamblers.
Oh, that's very true.
This is Ridiculous Crime, a podcast about absurd and outrageous capers, heists, and cons. It's always 99% murder-free and 100% ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
Ain't that right, Elizabeth?
Yes, it is.
Now, right now, it's World Series time.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, did you watch the series back when the A's were in it when you were a girl in the late 80s?
Yeah.
What was that time like in Oakland, and for you personally?
My brother was at the earthquake game.
Oh, right.
For the Loma Prieta.
I mean, you've told me that in the past. But what
was
it like
amazing.
for you?
It was so exciting. It was like, here's this team that we'd been watching the entire season, going to the games, like we're obsessed with. And it was so thrilling.
Who were your favorite players?
I was big into Dennis Eckersley. Eck.
Heck yeah.
Loved Eck.
I remember the t-shirts with just the mustache.
Yeah, I have one of those.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't wear it anymore because I don't like the A's anymore. But
right.
I still love Dennis Eckersley.
There you go.
That's
still
that
pure.
Whole team.
So you had like heroes like as a kid, right? I mean, you're like, I look up to this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, keep that energy in mind as I tell you this story.
Are you going to deflate the
heroes?
No.
I'm not going to take away any of your A's.
Okay,
They've already been taken away enough from you.
I know.
I do have one more World Series question for you, though.
Okay.
What do you know about the Black Sox?
Oy, oy, oy. I've seen the movie.
Which one? 8 Men Out?
8 Men Out.
The John Sayles movie?
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good one.
And I've run into
Have you seen Field of Dreams?
Yeah,
It's
if you
also got
build
some
it,
more Black Sox in
honey,
it.
they're going to come. I've run into it in my research on other stories that we've done.
Okay, right.
A lot Arnold Rothstein
Yes.
stuff, bumps into that.
Keeping him in mind.
Yeah.
Now, I've promised for many times that I would do an episode on the
Yeah, you
1919
have.
World Series. It's finally time to take a look back at the 1919 World Series between the Chicago White Sox and the Cincinnati Reds. Quick trivia time, just as a side trip.
Yeah.
Can you name the 3 Major League Baseball teams that are named for undergarments?
The Red Sox, the White Sox, and, I feel like I heard this before.
You'd have to know a little bit of old baseball to get this other one, because they're no longer named that. It's now a nickname that's been shortened.
Is it the Toledo Panties?
Cincinnati.
Really? The Reds?
They were the Red Legs or the Red Stockings.
The Red Underpants.
Because back in the day, all the teams were known for their sock color.
Oh.
That's how they differentiated, because they all pretty much wore like the same type uniform.
Sexy red panties.
No, not in this case.
Because they would kind of sag their pants.
Yeah.
You could see the whale tail coming out the back.
Oh, my Lord. Also, technically, the St. Louis Cardinals, they used to be the St. Louis Browns, which was originally the St. Louis Brown Stockings, which just raised all sorts of questions. But
wash your stockings.
Yeah, right? But as I said, all the teams, they differentiated themselves by their stockings.
Really?
Isn't that crazy? That's why they had so many red legs, brown stockings.
And then the Dodgers were like, look out!
Well, they were actually originally the Brooklyn Bridegrooms. Because a bunch of players on the team got married the same year, so the sports writers started calling them the Bridegrooms.
Guys, let's call ourselves the Bridegrooms.
Because the teams didn't used to have names. The sports writers gave them names, and the names would change all the time. So, like, one time a player would get traded, and they're like, okay, we're going to name ourselves after this player we just got. So now we're the Naps or Napoleon LaHoy, right? So
the Groomzillas.
Yeah, later on they became the Brooklyn Trolley Dodgers once the trolley system was created, and then later they got shortened to the Brooklyn Dodgers, and then now the LA Dodgers, who are in the World Series.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cincinnati Red Stockings, Chicago White Sox, Battle of the Undergarments, World Series 1919. The Cincinnati Reds were the National League pennant winners. Chicago White Sox won the American League. Now, baseball, as you probably very well know, got its start basically during the Civil War, right? And by the early 1900s, baseball is now known as the national pastime. It didn't take long. Football wasn't even close at the turn of the last century. It was like all about college football back then. There was no professional football.
Well,
there were teams, but not really.
They got their fill of brain damage in the Civil War.
They didn't need to play.
They didn't need it.
But in 1919, America's love affair with baseball was challenged. We almost gave up on baseball thanks to the Black Sox scandal. Yeah. You see, in 1919, the Great War, a.k.a. World War I, was finally over. And this meant the players who'd served overseas, they returned home, which is about 40% of the league. They were in the armed forces. Yeah. So now baseball had some down years from 1917, 1918. But in 1919, fans were stoked. Real baseball's back, baby. Love affair back on, right? As part of this new excitement about baseball being back, the presidents of the two league, the American and the National League, they decide, let's extend the World Series. Let's just keep this postseason going.
Why not?
So they went from a 7-game World Series to a best-of-9 contest.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, and the only time they did this because of what happened. Anyway, at the end of the season, 2 teams stand atop the heap. Cincinnati Reds in the National League, Chicago White Sox in the American League. White Sox were the odds-on favorite to win the series. They'd already won the 1917 World Series. They were clearly the better team, but there was one big problem with this whole arrangement. The team's owner. Do you know the name of the team's owner?
John Fisher.
Comiskey, as in Comiskey.
Oh, at Comiskey Park.
There you go.
Yeah.
AKA the Old Roman. That was his nickname.
Oh, really?
They also called him Commie. That was another nickname.
Yeah, that makes sense there. But the Old Roman.
Old Roman.
Interesting.
It was based on how he looked and how he acted. He apparently was a very... yeah, he loved to wear a sheet and come down to the field.
He was crazy.
Just be, hey, guys, let's win this one.
He's all, I might be the red panties, but I'm the no panties. Get back up there.
Darn it, Commie. So he was a former ball player. He became a manager, later a team owner. So he loved baseball, right? But Old Roman was notoriously tight-fisted. He didn't pay raises. He didn't pay his players what they were worth. This was a problem for players back then because there's something called the reserve clause. If a player refused their contract, they were prohibited by the reserve clause from playing for any other professional team.
Yeah.
So basically, the old Roman loved that. He's like, you're taking what I offer you? That's it.
Right.
So him being a cheapskate becomes the seed that blossoms into the Black Sox scandal.
See, that's what happens when you're a cheap owner.
Right? Well, the Chicago White Sox, this was also a team that had two very different cultures fused together amongst the players. There were a bunch of like do-gutters, like college boy Eddie Collins, second baseman. Mm-hmm. Then there were the ballers like Swede Risberg and Chick Gandil, who were known to hang out with like professional gamblers,
Swede
hard
and
dringers.
Chick?
Yeah,
Come on,
exactly.
man.
They were also kind of like ready to fight. They were tough guys. The most popular player on the team, the star of the team, was Shoeless Joe, a.k.a. Joe Jackson.
Yeah.
You may remember him from the big screen, played by Ray Liotta in Field of Dreams.
Right.
And by D.B. Sweeney in 8 Men Out.
That's right.
He plays him as real slow-eyed, like staring at candles and stuff. Anyway, you may have heard the recent news about Shoeless Joe. I don't know. But in May of this year, the commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred, decided to reinstate Shoeless Joe. He ended his ban from baseball.
Oh, really?
Him and Pete Rose. But why was Shoeless Joe banned? Great question,
Thank
Elizabeth.
you.
Well, it wasn't just him. There were 8 players in total, the AKA the Black Sox, all of whom got banned from baseball for life, really for perpetuity because it lasted past him dying. Mm-hmm. But we'll get to all that later. Anyway, back to the players and why they didn't like and trust and have an affinity for team owner Charles Comiskey. One of the stars of the team was a pitching ace, like best pitcher in the league in that year. His name was Eddie Sickott. And back in 1917, when the White Sox went to the World Series, Sickott had a bonus in his contract. If he won 30 games, he would earn a $10,000 bonus.
Oh, wow. That's
which is a lot of
money.
money, totally. Now, well, you wouldn't know this, but by the end of the season, Eddie Sickott was getting close. He had 28 wins. Mm-hmm. He was getting real close to getting that, and he was like, I could buy the farm for the family.
Yeah.
Charles Comiskey talks to the team's manager. He's like, why don't you bench our star pitcher? And he benches him in the pennant chase, and then so that he won't get the $10,000 bonus. So based on that, Eddie Sickott decides he'll get his revenge and get paid in the 1919 World Series.
Right.
So whose idea was it to fix the World Series?
I would love to know that.
Another great question, Elizabeth.
I know, I'm full of it.
It was first baseman Arnold Chick Gandil.
Chick.
You called it.
I keep thinking like with these guys, as a total aside, I would love to have like a time machine and bring one of them to the future and put him into a game and watch him just get rocked.
Some of them I think could
some could hang,
but
some could not.
Most of them would look like 47-year-old alcoholics out there trying to trot through the meat sweats, So years later, in an interview with Sports Illustrated in 1956, Chick Gandil admitted that, quote, I was a ringleader. His enforcer was his buddy, Swede Risberg. They were the pair who said, you're going to be in on this
Yeah,
fix.
dude.
So the story goes, when it was clear that the White Sox were headed to the 1919 World Series, somebody has the big idea, what if we rig the series? And according to Chick Gandil, he met with a professional gambler named Sport Sullivan. Sport Sullivan,
What's up, Sport Sullivan?
So Chick describes Sport Sullivan as, quote, a tall, strapping Irishman who looked like a cop. So there you can picture him. Now, as Chick Gandil tells it, it all started that September day in 1919 when Sullivan walked up to Eddie Sickott and me as we left our hotel in Boston. As I recall, we were 4 games in front the final week of the season. It looked pretty certain that the pennant was ours. So he and Eddie Sickott and Sport Sullivan, they head up to his hotel room. Sport pitches them on his plan to fix the World Series. Back to Gandil. I was kind of surprised when Sullivan suggested that we get a syndicate together of 7 or 8 players to throw the series in Cincinnati. Now, at first, the players were like, I don't know. But as Chick Gandil tells it, I said to Sullivan it wouldn't work. He answered, don't be silly. It's been pulled before and it can be pulled again. Rumors were the 1917 World Series was fixed.
Oh,
so it may be like they came back around, like, let's do this again.
Yeah, let's do it the right way this time.
Yeah, I don't know. But at that point, Sport Sullivan offers Chick Gandil and Eddie Sickott $10,000 for each player who will go along with the fix.
Oh, like an MLM.
Totally. It's that bonus that Eddie mixed out on. So I know you love inflation calculators.
Oh, God, do I.
$80,000 in 1919 would be worth $1.4 million in 2025 dollars. So basically, it's about 1.5. It's $1,487,437. So about 1.5 million.
Sure.
So that would be roughly $187,500 per player.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot of money to say no to. So the players kept listening to what Sport Sullivan had to say. And then they discussed, who would go for the deal? As Gandil remembers it, Sickott and I tried to figure out first which players might be interested, and any of those who might be, which ones would we care to cut in on this gravy? We finally decided on Jackson, Weaver, Risberg, Felch. McMullen and Williams. Not that we love them, because there was never much love among the White Sox. Let's just say that we dislike them the least.
Oh, wow.
Remember, like I said, two cultures on the team?
I saw 8 Men Out. I have like such vague memories. This is like all new.
Okay. So all in all, to give faces to names and names to positions, the star left fielder is Joe Jackson. Third baseman is Buck Weaver. The shortstop is Swede Risberg. The right fielder is Happy Felsch. Utility infielder is Fred McMullen. He's basically a backup. He's in because he's dirty.
Okay.
And then number 2 pitcher, Lefty Williams, along with number 1 pitcher, Eddie Sickott.
Okay.
And, of course, Chick Gandil.
Yeah.
So Chick said he and Eddie approached their teammates one at a time to kind of like suss them out. First, they roped in Happy Felsch. He was the easiest one. He's just kind of that guy. Then they got Swede Risberg and Fred McMullen because they were friends with Chick Gandil. He's like, oh, of course we'll do it, Chick. And then, also both hard cases, kind of crooked. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Then they approached Lefty Williams. Now, he's a Southerner like Joe Jackson. He had honor and his word. That all mattered to him.
Yeah.
But he's deeply underpaid by Charles Comiskey.
Yeah.
So, lastly, they approached the best hitter on the team, my man, Shoeless Joe Jackson. Once they had them all on board, or at least a verbal yes, Chick Gandil and Eddie Sickott set a meeting with the other players, and here's how Gandil tells it. They were all interested and thought we should reconnoiter to see if the dough would really be put on the line. Weaver suggested we get paid in advance. Then if things got too hot, we could double-cross the gambler, keep the cash, and also take the big end of the series cut by beating the Reds. We agreed this was a hell of a brainy plan. You gotta love that they think these are not street-savvy criminals, right?
No.
These athletes are going to try to screw their team owner to enjoy a real payday. Then they're dumb enough to think they can take the gamblers' money to throw the series, then double-cross them because they still want to win the series.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so now that we've set this one in motion, let's take a little break.
Yeah.
And after these messages, we'll meet one of my favorite crimers of all time.
Oh, boy.
Elizabeth.
Zaron.
Okay, so where were we? Oh, that's right. The Chicago White Sox agreed to fix the World Series, but they haven't agreed to the terms with the professional gambler, Sport Sullivan. And more importantly, he hasn't delivered any money yet. So the players are at least smart enough to ask to be paid in advance.
Yeah.
Like before you do the deed, they want to get paid.
Right.
But then they're dumb again because they also agree to meet with a second professional gambler who's also interested in rigging the World Series. So Eddie Sickott is like, I want to get paid for certain. So he sets up a meeting with his second professional gambler, a former major league pitcher named Sleepy Bill Burns.
Sleepy Bill.
Sleepy Bill. Now, this is the way the story goes. Before he spoke with Eddie Sickott, Sleepy Bill Burns approached the only man he believed could financially back his plans to rig the World Series. And he knew just where to find him. He was always known to be at the Jamaica racetrack in New York. So sure enough, when he rocks up, this man is there. So he goes up and approaches him. And my man is Arnold the Brain Rothstein.
Oh,
crime
heavens.
legend. The Sleepy Bill Burns, he has an associate with him. They asked to speak with the Brain about a little business matter he might be interested in, right? The Brain just brushes him off. He tells him, maybe later. I'm watching the ponies. Can't you see I'm watching the ponies?
How many people approached him with stuff like this constantly?
Right? Exactly. Hey, I got a little action on the
like,
side.
all right,
I got this
right.
boxers in the bag. So the Brain tells Sleepy Bill Burns and his associate, you guys go wait in the Trax restaurant. I'll find you later. They do as instructed. Eventually, someone comes over to their table, but it's not the Brain. It's his right-hand man, Abe Attell. He listens to Sleepy Bill Burns' pitch to fix the World Series. After he hears the plan, he goes back to the Brain, who's still watching the ponies. And the criminal mastermind, he listens. He's not that impressed. He's like, yeah, whatever. So he tells his right-hand man, Abe Attell, go back to Sleepy Bill Burns and tell him the bad news. The Brain ain't going for it.
Yeah.
But Sleepy Bill Burns is stubborn. And he's like, well, maybe if he hears it from me directly. Maybe he didn't put it right. So he tracks the Brain down to where he is staying at the Astor Hotel in Times Square in New York.
Oh, wow.
And he just waits in the lobby until he comes breezing through in some beautiful mohair cashmere coat.
Yeah.
So Sleepy Bill Burns, he spots the Brain coming, just gliding through the lobby of the hotel. He walks up on him and he pitches him his plan to fix the World Series right there in the lobby. The Brain listens. He says, now I love this quote, whatever my opinion is worth, forget about it. So
wow.
He just tells him straight to his face, no. This was almost the end of Let's Rig the World Series, except the Brain's right-hand man, Abe Attell, was a former prize fighter. What this means is he didn't believe rigging something like putting the fix in is difficult because he's pretty sure he saw plenty of fixed fights in the fight game. So he's like, well, we could rig the series. So either way, he reaches out to Sleepy Bill Burns and he lies. He tells him the brain changed his mind.
No.
He wants to back the fix. Oh. He'll put up $100,000 for the players.
Oh, no.
Now that he has the brain's backing, or at least thinks he does, Sleepy Bill Burns goes back to Eddie Sickett and goes, if you're down, fix is on.
Oh, my God.
So meanwhile, Arnold the Brain Rothstein is also approached by Sport Sullivan. He asks him, hey, if you guessed it, would he be interested in fixing the World Series? The Brain is like, why does everyone want to rig this series? But unlike with Sleepy Bill Burns, this time he listens because he respects Sport Sullivan as a fellow professional gambler.
Right.
He's not some like former athlete with notions.
Yeah.
So after he hears the pitch, the Brain says, all right, I'll back your play. So now you might think of all these folks have the same idea about rigging the World Series. Talk will get around.
Yeah.
The Brain isn't bothered by this.
Huh.
In fact, he thinks it's a good thing because it'll give him plausible deniability. As the Brain says, if 9 guys go to bed with a girl, she'll have a tough time proving the 10th is the father.
Wow.
Right? Yes. Slick.
Wow.
So now that he's officially backing Sport Sullivan's fix, the Brain sends him to Chicago to meet with the players to arrange all the details. He also sends his partner, Nat Evans, to oversee it all, right? Mm-hmm. So in Chicago, Sport Sullivan does as instructed. He meets with the players. They tell him the same thing as they said before. We want the money up front.
Yeah.
Sport Sullivan's like, okay, let me set up a meeting with the money man. As ringleader, Chick Gandil recalls it, a meeting was arranged at the old Warner Hotel on the south side where many of the players lived. Sullivan introduced his friend as Mr. Ryan, but having met this man 2 years before in New York, I recognized him as Arnold Rothstein, the big shot gambler.
Yeah, everyone I would imagine knows who he is.
Totally, especially everyone if you're in the life.
Yeah, in that life, yeah.
And if you think 2 years before would have been 1917, which
the prior,
yes.
Yeah.
So at this meeting, Mr. Ryan, a.k.a. Arnold the Brain Rothstein, lays out his plan for the fix. As Gandil tells it, we were to try our best to win the first game behind Sickott, who was the league's leading pitcher. The White Sox were rated as a 3-1 favorites in the series. A win in the first game would boost the price higher. We were then to lose the series at our convenience.
At our convenience.
Right? Simple enough. If they win game 1, the odds go up, brings in more bets.
Right.
They could then lose the series. Everyone cleans up.
Right.
But they still haven't gotten paid yet. So the player's like, okay, well, when are we going to get our, was it $80,000, $100,000? We want our money in advance.
Yeah. Why would you go ahead and throw it if then nothing's going to come?
And they'd have to trust these gamblers. Yeah. So the Brain, who hasn't said a word yet in the meeting, he's just got his people talking. But once the money talk starts, he chimes in. Back to Chick Gandil. He asked calmly, what's to assure us you guys will keep the agreement? We offered him our word. He answered, that's a weak collateral.
It's got a point.
That's why I love Arnold Rothstein. Your word is weak collateral. He wants real guarantees, sure. Right? He's like, I'm putting up big money. Yeah. I can't be having a bunch of ball players gave me the word.
A pinky swear.
So the Brain comes up with a compromise everyone can live with. As Gandil tells it, he would give us $10,000 in advance and pay the remaining $70,000 in installments over the first 4 games. Each payment amounting to $17,500.
That's fair enough.
So the idea is they get 10 large to split. Then once the series is going, every time they throw a game, they get paid.
Yeah.
The players are like, cool. We're going to need to vote on this.
Right.
So they go, they talk amongst themselves, they vote, they agree to go through with the fix. But they still want their money in advance. They're like, we're not certain about this. Like Lefty Williams and Eddie Sickott, they got family, and Joe Jackson, he doesn't trust anybody, so we want our money. So to make the believers of the players, the Brain pulls out 10 crisp, brand new $1,000 bills.
Wow.
And he says, here's the first $10,000.
Think about $1,000 bill then.
Oh, yeah.
Like the equivalency of what kind of bill you'd be pulling out.
Well, basically $10,000 in 2025 money would be $187,500. So
it's like
$18,000.
Yeah, an $18,000 bill.
Almost 19.
Wow.
Yeah, So, but that's the thing. If you put the money in their hand, it's much harder to say no once they're going to have to give that money back. And he knows this. So the Brain puts the money in their hand and goes, do we have a deal? Uh-huh. And they're like, okay, I guess this is us getting paid in advance.
Right.
So they agree to the fix for only $1,000 each. Now that the fix is on, the Brain starts laying bets with bookmakers on the Reds to win the World Series. But he's trying to do it casually so nobody knows it's him. Yeah. Otherwise, they're going to be kind of suspicious because he's taking the underdog.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his partner in the fix, his fellow professional gambler, Sport Sullivan, has no honor.
Oh, boy.
So it was supposed to be, they agreed that they would have $40,000 that was going to be held in a safe, right? That's what the brain tells him. He's like, yeah, I'm willing to put $40,000 in a safe in Chicago. Sports Sullivan will be in charge of the money. As soon as there's evidence the fix is on, you'll get paid.
Okay.
Sports Sullivan's like, yeah, you already gave him 10. So he takes the other 30,000 that's left and he bets it on the Cincinnati Reds. He takes their money and bets it. Rather than paying them off, he's like, I want to get my beak wet. Maybe make myself a little extra money.
Boy.
That $30,000 it isn't even earning interest, just sitting in a safe. So he bets it. So now I should say there have been some doubts about whether or not the brain really was the money man for the fix or not, right?
Yeah.
However, according to historian Harold Seymour, there were affidavits discovered in Arnold the Brain Rothstein's files after he died.
Yeah.
And one of the affidavits said, quote, he paid out $80,000 for the World Series fix. So I'd say that kind of settles it for me.
There it is. Yeah. And it was in his files?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
But either way, it's his involvement that makes the players believe the fix is possible.
Sure.
So because the brain was that guy. So I tend to believe Occam's razor style, he's the fixer.
Agreed.
Anyway, after this meeting with Mr. Ryan, a.k.a. the Brain, the White Sox players agree to fix the World Series with Sports Sullivan. But Eddie Sickott's like, well, what about Sleepy Bill Burns?
Yeah.
So he goes back to him. He goes, okay, the fix is on. We're going to do it. And then he's like, but the players want to get paid. So he tries to get double dipping with Sleepy Bill Burns, like he's running the fix. And so Sleepy Bill Burns is like, all right, bet. Let me raise the cash. Because he didn't get the money from Arnold the Brain Rothstein. So the players, they think they can finesse all these professional gamblers and it's all going to work out for them.
Yeah.
So innocent. So
naive. I know.
At this point, talk of the fix starts to spread fast on the streets. In fact, the day after their meeting with the Brain, Chick Gandil gets a call from a Chicago reporter wanting to know what's what. As Gandil tells it, he heard the series was fixed. Where'd you hear that crazy story, I said, and hung up. Now, if you're going to fix something like the World Series, that's what we in the sports rigging business call a bright red flag.
Yeah, just
right? Because that same night, Sports Sullivan comes by Chick Gandil's place and he tells him there's more bad news. Since the streets are talking that the fix is in, the 3-1 odds are going down.
Oh, no.
So the bookmakers are going to make less money.
Yeah.
The bettors are going to make less money. But then it gets even worse because word doesn't just spread in Chicago. Talk actually reaches Cincinnati. As Gandil tells it, by the time we arrived in Cincinnati to open the series, the rumors were really flying. Even a clerk in a stationery store, not recognizing me as a ball player, told me confidentially, I have it firsthand that the series is in the bag.
No.
Waitresses and bellhops were talking the same way. Reporters were buzzing about, asking questions. Everybody
just randoms
knows.
On the street. Oh my God.
Yeah, when you got random stationery store clerks and bellhops telling people the fix is in.
I got a hot tip for you.
Yeah, hey, come over here. Touching their nose, letting you know on the sly like it's the sting. Now, I don't got to tell you this, but that's capital B bad news,
yeah,
right?
It is.
Especially for the players who've now agreed to fix the World Series.
Right.
So, meanwhile, the White Sox players are still waiting to get paid to throw the World Series.
Oh, man.
Remember, they wanted their money up front. Instead, they got the crisp $1,000 bills, and that's it. Sports Sullivan wagered the rest of the money. Sleepy Bill Burns was like, hey, let me raise the money, right? So there's no money in advance for them.
No.
At this point, the White Sox players start to get pissed. The night before Game 1 of the World Series, they go to a hotel and they meet with Abe Attell, the right-hand man of the Brain.
Yeah.
They demand what they call their money before the series starts.
Right.
But as I think they should know, until it's in their pocket, it's their money.
Exactly.
Plus, Abe Attell, former prize fighter, right-hand man of the Brain, he don't scare easily.
No.
Doesn't matter if a bunch of ball players.
He made it up, though, right? Because the brain doesn't know about this deal.
Yeah. So instead, he tells the players how it is. They get paid once they throw the games. That's it. He says for each game they lose, he'll get them a payout of $20,000.
Huh.
Since it's a best-of-9-game series, the Reds need to win 5 games.
Yeah.
That works out to be $100,000, right?
Yeah.
Which, again, is $1.87 million for them to split 8 ways.
Right.
That would be $234,375 in 2025 each.
Huh. Okay.
Now, the players tell Abe Attell they could definitely throw the first 2 games. Eddie Sickott's on the mound for game 1. Lefty Williams he's going to pitch game 2.
Yeah.
No problem. But we can't guarantee game 3 because that's going to be little Dickie Kerr. So there you go. He's like, well, that's fine. That's fine. You guys are going to pick back up for game 4, game 5. That's no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Time to play ball, Elizabeth. World Series. Game 1 of the World Series. It's October 1st, 1919. Eddie Sickott for the White Sox pitching versus the Reds star pitcher Dutch Reuther. Arnold the Brain Rothstein wasn't in Cincinnati for the series, but he was paying attention because he's at the Ansonia Hotel in New York. And They have, this is before radio got big, so people couldn't listen to the game on the radio. Instead, he's in the lobby of the hotel, and they got a man there reading the pitch by pitch from a telegraph machine.
Oh,
just
God,
announcing
I love it.
Right? So people are all seated around on these high-back chairs listening, ball one,
Right.
So they've arranged a signal that the fix is on. Eddie Sickott is supposed to walk the first batter of the game, or he can just hit him with a pitch. The guy just has to reach first base.
Right.
The fella reading the pitch-by-pitch reports that first pitch is a strike. All right, now second pitch. Oh, it's a bit wild. Oh, it hits the leadoff batter right in the back. Take your base. The fix is on. This is all the brain wants to hear. He walks out of the lobby. He doesn't care about baseball.
Yeah, you guys got the rest.
Now, Elizabeth, you want to know how obvious it was that the fix was on?
I do want to know.
In game one, the pitcher for the Reds, Dutch Reuther, not only throws a 6-hitter and gives up just 1 run, he also goes 3 for 3 on the day in the batter's box.
Oh, God.
The pitcher had not 1 but 2 triples, and he knocked in 3 runs. He single-handedly wins the game for the Reds. And it isn't just him. The Reds have a great game top to bottom of the lineup. They win 9-1.
Dang.
After the game, the owner, Charles Comiskey, goes down and he meets with the White Sox manager, Kid Gleason.
Oh, sure.
Because both men had heard talk around town that the fix was in.
Of course.
So Commie asked Kid Gleason if he thinks his team are they actually trying to throw the World Series?
Right.
And Kid Gleason, he's like, he hems, he haws a little bit. Then he says, I don't know, but I can tell something is wrong with the team, right?
Yeah.
He's an optimist. He's a good-hearted guy.
Yeah.
For game 2, Lefty Williams is on the mound. He's going against Slim Sally for the Reds.
Slim Sally.
The White Sox players decide we're going to make game 2 less of an obvious fixed game.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
But there are still plenty of hinky moments. Like in the 4th inning, Lefty Williams walks 3 Reds players, and all 3 wind up scoring. White Sox lose the game 4-2.
Well, at least it's slightly
After the
closer
game,
margin.
Ray Schalk, the catcher, he was known to be something of a hothead, and he isn't in on the fix. He's part of the good guys crew.
Yeah.
He confronts Kid Gleason, the manager, and he starts yelling in his face about how Lefty Williams is ignoring his signs for his pitches. He shouts, "The son of a bitch! Williams kept crossing me. In that lousy 4th inning, he crossed me 3 times. He wouldn't throw a curve." Right?
Whoa.
Oh, he's heated.
Yeah.
So Kid Gleason's like, he's a good pitcher. Maybe he'll get it back. Game 5. Same night, Sleepy Bill Burns stops by Chick Gandil's hotel room. He leaves some money for the players. They're supposed to be getting paid every game.
Right.
They've thrown 2, but it isn't the $20,000 that he was promised.
No, he's like, it's 50
Instead,
bucks.
he's like, here's $10,000. So at least they get something, right?
Something,
Sleepy
yeah.
Bill Burns managed to get something. Unlike the Brains' right-hand man, Abe Attell, he's nowhere to be seen.
Oh, really?
At this point, the players are owed $40,000 from Abe Attell and Sports Sullivan.
Yeah.
So they've thrown 2 games. Now, Elizabeth, do you think the players got that money?
Absolutely not.
No, they did not. Because Sports Sullivan decided to bet the money on the series, and he won't get his winnings until they throw the whole series. So even if he did want to
tied
pay
up in
them,
escrow.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Sleepy Bill Burns, the other one fixing the series, he wants to know if the players are planning on throwing Game 3.
Yeah.
So Chick Gandil tells him, we're going to throw Game 3. Based on that, Sleepy Bill Burns bets big, like all the money he's made so far, on the game. What he doesn't know is that Gandil and the players are pissed that they're not getting their money. So they decide, you know what? Forget it. We're not throwing the game.
Right.
We're going to teach these gamblers a lesson. If they don't give us our money, they lose money.
It's too obvious, too, to just lose everything.
That's a good point, too, yeah.
You got to
Mix
put
it
a
up.
little bit of drama in there.
Well, they do. In Game 3, the pitcher is that little Dickie Kerr, and he's a young kid. He knows nothing about the fix. He's one of the good guys. He goes out there. He throws a damn fine game. He gives up just 3 hits.
Huh.
The White Sox win the game 3-0, and Gandil actually ends up knocking in 2 of the 3 runs.
Oh, wow.
And because he bet on the loss, Sleepy Bill Burns loses it all.
Oh,
He's knocked out of the fix.
Well, there goes all their money.
Yeah, so now they can't. One of the gamblers supposed to be paying them can't pay them because he lost all of his money.
Right.
But they're like, you teach you guys a lesson. You should be paying us. You're like, do you not understand how a fix works? Now, the record at this point in the series is 2-1 in favor of the Reds.
Yeah.
At this point, the players are getting pissed at Chick Gandil because they keep asking, when are we going to get our money? When we get paid?
Yeah.
He keeps trying to keep them calm. He's like, hey, it's fine. I got this handled. Just be patient. And if they get loud, he's like, Swede Risper, go over and talk to him. And Swede's like, don't you bother him. He's like the tough guy. Now, before Game 4, Chick Gandil meets with Sports Sullivan. He's like, hey, look, the guys, they want their money. You owe us $20,000 for this game or else the fix is off. All right, we already busted Sleepy Bill Burns. The Sports Sullivan's like, hey, I don't have it right this second. But he's like, all right, well, I'll get you your money. So where he gets it is anyone's guess. But he manages to get money to Chick Gandil before Game 4 starts.
Really?
At first, Game 4 was a good game. The score remained tied at 0 until the 5th inning. And that's when Eddie Cicotte, now back on the mound, decides not to make one, but two obvious errors that allow the Reds to score.
Oh.
Final game score, Reds 2, White Sox 0.
Oh, wow.
After that game, Lefty Williams, who's going to start Game 5, goes to Chick Gandil's hotel room. He wants his money. He's like, when are we going to get paid?
Right.
Because remember, Gandil's the ringleader. He's dispersing the funds.
Yeah, exactly.
All the players, they aren't meeting with these gamblers. He's doing it all.
Yeah.
Right. So Lefty Williams remembers the clandestine meeting. There were 2 packages, 2 envelopes lying there, and he says, this is your dough. Now, Gandil told me there's 5 for yourself and 5 for Jackson, and the rest has been called for. So he's like petering out to whoever gets mad. And he gives him, here's $5,000, shut up, go help, do the fix.
Yeah.
Game 5, Lefty Williams takes the mound. This game wasn't an obvious debacle, but there were moments. So like when Happy Felch, the outfielder, he dropped a fly ball in the 6th inning. And then he throws it to Swede Risberg, who's covering second, and he misplays the throw. The ball gets away from him. So they're both like bungling. Then later in that same inning, Happy Felch misplays a second shot to the outfield, misses the ball. 3-run score. White Sox lose the game 5-0.
Oh, God.
At this point, sports writers are talking.
Oh, sure.
Right? They're starting to be like, you think the fix is it? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
The fix is definitely in.
Exactly.
No one can be in the series and play this badly.
Right.
Series is now 4-1 in favor of the Reds. Now, typically, we would think, oh, you won the series. But remember, it's a best-of-9 series.
Right.
The Reds still need to win a 5th game.
Yeah.
But before the series is over, the talk of the fix is now everywhere. Odds from the bookmakers have plummeted. The gamblers are having a hard time making money. But worse than that, they stopped paying the players altogether.
Well, yeah.
There's no more money after Game 5. So the White Sox players decide, you know what? We've been double-crossed by these gamblers. So following Buck Weaver's original call, they say, to hell with the gamblers. We're going to win the series.
Oh, my God.
So now they're going to try to screw Ronald the Brain Rothstein, who bet on them
Such a bad
to lose
idea.
the series. So in Game 6, the White Sox, they go out, they ball out, and they win the game. Final score, 5-4. For Game 7, they do the same thing. They win that one 4-1. So now the record for the series is 4-3 in favor of the Reds.
Yeah.
But if the White Sox can win Game 8, they can force a Game 9. They can still win this thing, right? And if they do that, they'll screw over all the gamblers who've been on them to lose the fixed series, chief among them, Arnold the Brain Rothstein. And they must have forgotten who they were dealing with.
Yeah, exactly.
Because after the White Sox win Games 6 and 7, some hoods come and they threaten Eddie Cicotte and Lefty Williams. In fact, one of the hoods tells Lefty Williams, he's got a pretty young wife. Sure would be a shame if anything happened to her because, you're hard-headed.
Right. They're not just going to be like, oh, we're really disappointed you guys didn't do it at the end of the day. Like, yeah, come on.
No, they're like, I'm going to kill everything you love.
Everything, yeah.
If you cost my boss money.
Yeah.
So Lefty Williams, he gets the start in Game 8. What do you think he does, Elizabeth? Does he go out there and ball out or does he throw it?
He throws it.
Well, after these messages, I'll tell you how this all shakes out.
Yeah.
And we're back, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Pew, 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 pew.
Pew, 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 pew.
You ready to hear how the White Sox become the Black Sox?
Yes, please.
So after his visit from the Hoods, Lefty Williams clearly gets the message. He goes out there, takes the mound, and he saves his wife's life.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing.
It's wild. In the first inning, he throws just 15 pitches. And with those 15 pitches, he allows 4 hits and 3 runs.
He's just lobbing it over the plate.
He only manages to get 1 out before he's taken out of the game by the manager, Kid Gleason. So he technically pitches 1/3 of an inning.
Right,
That's it.
Right.
After that, it's an uphill road for the White Sox. Some of them are still trying to win, the good guys. Some of the bad guys are still trying to win because they haven't been threatened.
Yeah.
So they managed to score 5 runs. The bad news is the Cincinnati Reds scored 10 runs. And that was that. Cincinnati Reds win the World Series.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask their manager, Pat Moran, which some sports writers did, hey, do you think the fix is in?
Yeah.
He said he believed that there was no fix and his team naturally triumphed. As he put it, quote, if they threw some of the games, they must be consummate actors, for nothing in their playing gave me the impression they weren't doing their best.
Yeah, but you don't want to get out there and be like, the only reason we won is because they blew it.
Of course.
These guys, they're, B-rated team.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you want to gas up your own guys.
You got to. You absolutely have to. You're like, my guys went out there and played their hearts out.
Yeah.
Now, for a more neutral stance, there's the umpire for the game, Billy Evans. Sports writers asking him, you think the fix was in? Now, originally, he was like, no, what are you talking about? But then a year later, when news finally broke that the World Series had indeed been fixed by gamblers, at that point, the umpire for the series, Billy Evans, said, well, I guess I'm just a big dope. That series looked all right to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Also, if you ask the official scorer of the World Series if it was rigged, he said he only saw one play that seemed suspicious to him.
Really?
No, but there was one guy who was very honest and was around baseball. The former star pitcher, Christy Mathewson, who was known to be a straight shooter, like all around, like grown-up Boy Scout. And he didn't smoke, didn't drink. He was just straight arrow. He says he saw at least 7 plays that were clear evidence the series was fixed.
Yeah.
So the sports writers were like, see, okay, Christy won't lie to us.
Right.
Now, the most obvious ball players involved in the fix were Eddie Sickott, Lefty Williams, Chick Gandil, Sweet Risberg, and Happy Felsch. Their play was indicative of the fix.
Right.
The others were not so obvious. So Fred McMullen, he was a backup, so he didn't even have much impact on the game. He only had 2 at-bats in the entire series, and he got a hit. So he got one. He went 500.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Buck Weaver and Shoeless Joe Jackson, they actually had really good games, and they didn't show any obvious signs that they were in the fix.
Yeah.
Like Joe Jackson batted .375 over this 8-game series. He scored 5 runs, had 6 RBIs. He had the only home run in the series. And in the field, not a single error. Same for Buck Weaver. He batted .324 during the series, which is the second highest batting average on the team.
Right.
He also had no errors. He played his heart out.
Interesting.
So did he and Joe Jackson both have a change of heart about the fixed World Series? Well, Elizabeth, you know how often the crime isn't why people get caught? Instead, it's the cover-up that really ruins things.
Yes.
Watergate comes to mind.
Oh, yeah.
This was baseball's Watergate. After the White Sox lost the World Series, talk is still everywhere that the game was fixed. And naturally, Arnold the Brain Rothstein name keeps getting mentioned a lot, but no one has any proof. However, almost everyone's certain something ain't right about this, but there's still just no hard proof. And a fixed World Series is a huge scandal. It could threaten the sports. Baseball was basically a young professional sport. They'd just gotten rid of the Federal League, which was a competition. Yeah. And so they're trying to keep things going. And they've just gotten back from the war. They're trying to let's get this going. It's like basically after a player strike. They're trying to get the people to come back to the ballparks. And plus, for a lot of people, good and bad, they get eventually involved in this cover-up because this is America's pastime. They got to protect baseball.
Yeah.
So after the series, Charles Comiskey, he starts facing questions from the sports writer. Like, Commie, come on. Did you know about the fix? He tries to squelch any talk of a fix. Like, what fix? Hey, you guys, come on now. My guys, they balled out. The questions persist. So the cover-up isn't working. So eventually he releases a statement to the press to the effect of, I believe my boys fought the battle of the recent World Series on the level, as they've always done. And I would be the first to want information to the contrary, if there be any. I would give $20,000 to anyone unearthing information to that effect. He's like, I want proof. I want receipts.
Right.
Or don't come at me.
Right.
And by the way, $20,000, that would be about $375,000 in 2025 dollars.
Okay.
Good money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of motivation for somebody to go find something.
Yeah.
He also, Comiskey hires a private eye to do some digging as well. Private eye is like, okay, let me dig into their finances.
Right.
So he just starts going through everybody but Buck Weaver. Nobody thought Buck Weaver was dirty. His findings, inconclusive. No one can find evidence.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, you know how baseball has their winter baseball meetings between owners?
Yes.
So the rigged World Series, of course, is the talk of the meetings, so it starts bubbling back up. To make matters worse, though, at that same time, a Chicago sports writer, he publishes a story in a New York paper, because Chicago papers are like, we can't publish
we're not
this.
touching that.
So the paper runs the headline, is big league baseball being run for gamblers with ball players in the deal?
Oh.
And then, before any facts are found out or any evidence emerges of the fix, the manager of the White Sox, Kid Gleason, is in New York, and that's where he learns the truth. It's July, following year, 1920. Yeah. Kid Gleason, he's in this bar in New York. He runs into Arnold the Brain Rothstein's right-hand man, Abe Attell, the former prize fighter.
Yeah.
The two get to talking. Abe Attell tells Kid Gleason, I always respected you, and I feel bad about you losing the World Series. Or as he put it, kid, I hated to do that to you, but I thought I was going to make a bundle, and I needed it.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Abe Attell confesses that Arnold the Brain Rothstein was the money man who made it all happen, and Kid Gleason's furious because he's this decent guy. So he tries to find a sports writer who will write up this story that it's Arnold the Brain Rothstein, he fixed the World Series, but all he has for proof is some drunken confession from a former prize fighter.
Right.
That's not real evidence.
No.
No one runs with the story.
No.
It looks like the truth will never come out because most of Major League Baseball, they just want the scandal to go away. Team owners don't want to talk about it.
Right.
Players don't want to talk about it.
Right.
The cover-up is working. Why spoil a good thing?
Yeah, exactly.
But then, that same year, 1920, the White Sox are back in the lead to win the pennant and go back to the World Series.
Oh, man.
Because they're still a good team. And that, Elizabeth, is when an odd turn of events brings the scandal back out into the light.
Yeah.
Turns out, my team, the Chicago Cubs, are involved. There's a Cubs-Phillies game on August 31st, and there's talk that the game was fixed. It was a clear fixed game.
Right.
This time, a grand jury gets convened.
No.
Criminal charges are being talked about. The assistant state attorney in Illinois sends subpoenas out to a bunch of folks in baseball.
Yeah.
One ball player, he's called to testify. He's a New York Giants pitcher, Rube Benton. In his testimony, he says, my old teammate, Sleepy Bill Burns, he sent me a telegram that said the White Sox were going to lose the 1919 World Series. He said the fix is in. He also said in the telegram, he specifically named players Chick Gandil, Happy Felch, Lefty Williams, Eddie Sickott. They said they're all in on it. This is now finally some evidence. This gets tongues a wagon. Eventually, since it looked like the White Sox were headed back to the World Series, they got to be stopped. Otherwise, is the series going to be fixed again?
Sure.
Baseball's now panicked because they're like, okay, now you're putting all of our money on the line. A couple days later, a Philadelphia newspaper publishes a story based on an interview with this guy, Bill Marag. I didn't mention his name, but he was the associate of Sleepy Bill Burns when they first approached Arnold the Brain Rothstein at the racetrack and they had to sit at the dinner table.
Yeah.
That's this guy. In his interview, he tells the reporter from a Philadelphia newspaper all that he knows. He spills. Guess he was still mad about Sleepy Bill Burns getting screwed over by Chick Gandil and them losing all the money and getting pushed out of the fix.
Right.
So now, once he dumps, there's hard proof of the fix. At this point, Eddie Sickott comes forward and he goes and he testifies to the grand jury. He confirms what everyone suspects. He's subpoenaed, he appears before the grand jury, spills his guts, airs out his guilty heart. He tells the grand jury, I don't know why I did it. I must have been crazy. Risberg, Gandil, and McMullen were at me for a week before the series began. They wanted me to go crooked. I don't know. I needed the money. I had the wife and the kids. The wife and the kids don't know about this. I don't know what they'll think. Right? At this point, he starts to cry.
Aww.
Yeah, he's like just like, I don't know what I've done, right?
Yeah.
He says, I've lived 1,000 years in the last 12 months. I wouldn't have not done that thing for $1 million. Now I've lost everything, job, reputation, everything. My friends all bet on the Sox. I knew, but I couldn't tell them.
I'll save him from it.
I know, yeah. But I mean, like,
God, what it would weigh on him. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So the next to come forward is Shoeless Joe Jackson. He testifies his involvement, and he admits to taking. By the way, it's well known that he's getting subpoenaed. So, like people like Happy Felch and Chick Gandil, they're like, hey, don't you go talk. Don't you squeal, right? He goes anyway. He admits to taking, I got $5,000 from the gamblers. And he says he told his wife what he was doing, and she told him it was an awful thing to do. She started crying when he told her. Oh. He still went through with it. So Joe Jackson testifies that the players have been double-crossed by the gamblers. He'd been promised $20,000, but he only got $5,000. But by then it was too late. They had already, they were in it. And he also testified that he confronted Chick Gandil, and Chick Gandil's like, what are you going to do, holler for a cop?
See, I mean, that's the thing is you get this opportunity, and if you're not thinking straight and you're just thinking of the money, you're not looking down the road that there's no way out of this.
There's no going back.
There's no going back, and it's not going to end no matter how it shakes out.
Sure.
There's always going to be a problem for you, not for them, but for you.
Yeah, you're the one who's out there on the diamond.
Yeah.
Who's going to face all the glare. You're going to disappoint everybody.
Right.
No one's upset by Arnold the Brain Rothstein doing some hinky stuff.
Well, and the thing is, you think about throwing a game, you're trying to, you're covering your end of the bargain, but you don't know what's going on with the other team.
Yeah, totally.
And so it's like there are flukes, and not everyone on the team is in on it.
That's the other thing.
And so, it's a dangerous game you're playing. And,
dicey proposition.
Yeah.
Now, while Arnold the Brain Rothstein allegedly ended up making about $400,000 on the fixed World Series, which I know you want to know.
Yes.
$7.5 million in $2025.
Dang.
Most of the other gamblers weren't so lucky. Like Abe Attell, his right-hand man, he didn't make out. Sleepy Bill Burns, he lost it all in Game 3.
Right.
So pretty much the only one who really cleaned up was Arnold the Brain Rothstein.
That's like par for the course with him.
Why they call him the Brain.
Yes.
The real losers, as you pointed out, are the players.
Yeah.
Joe Jackson, he testifies we were double-crossed. He also testifies that before he agreed to speak with the grand jury, the other players were like, you poor simp, go ahead and squawk. We're just going to say you're a liar.
Oh, wow.
So he says that, right? And then he says also, Swede Risberg, he was the muscle for the cover-up. He was like threatening all of us, and Joe Jackson tells the grand jury, Risberg threatens to bump me off.
Oh.
Yeah, like murder claims now.
Right.
And then when he walks out of the Chicago courthouse, this disappointed kid comes up to Shoeless Joe, and he says this very famous quote in baseball history. Yeah. But rather than me tell you about it, Elizabeth, I'd like you to close your eyes.
My eyes are closed.
And I'd like you to picture it. It's early afternoon in Chicago, and you are right now standing among a small crowd. You were just running some errands, had to get your laundry, pick up something from the tailor, when you saw the crowd and asked what the deal was. Someone told you that Shoeless Joe Jackson's inside the courtroom testifying to a grand jury about the series fix. You aren't in a rush, but you are a baseball fan, so you decide, I can get home a little later. I'll stick around and see what's what. It doesn't take long before the crowd gets excited. Someone closer to the courthouse turns and shouts, "He's coming out!" Some local street kids push past you to get a clear view, unblocked by the much taller adults. The Chicago sports writers also muscle their way in close. You're sort of shunted off to the side, but you still have a clear view of the steps of the courthouse. And then you see him with your own eyes. Shoeless Joe steps out, moves through the door. He smooths a hat onto his head. He's buffeted by these big, burly bailiffs. They're there for his protection after he spills what he knows to the grand jury. Everyone knows Chicago has a growing gangster problem. But at this point, it's really too late. He's already said what he knows. No putting that genie back in the bottle. You watch the famous star of the Chicago White Sox as he draws close to the crowd waiting on the courthouse steps. Just before he can bound down the steps, one of the local street kids pushing forward stands just before Shoeless Joe. The kid looks up at his hero. No one knows what Shoeless Joe just said to the grand jury. So the kid asks what everyone's thinking. The street kid looks his hero in the eyes and utters the now famous words, "It ain't so, Joe, is it?" Shoeless Joe Jackson's face falls. Shame colors his eyes darker, but he doesn't break eye contact with the kid. Instead, he just says, "Yeah, kid, I'm afraid it is." The sports writers push pen to steno pad and record the famous moment in baseball history. And you were there, Elizabeth, to see it all. Aren't you glad you ran those errands?
Amazing. Yes, I am.
Okay, so now that the scandal is out in the open, it's been confirmed by the star of the team, it goes yah-yah. It's official. White Sox through the series. After that, Charles Comiskey sends a telegram to the 8 now disgraced Black Sox players, and in no uncertain terms, he tells them, "You and each of you are hereby notified of your indefinite suspension as a member of the Chicago American League Baseball Club." That's why the Chicago White Sox did not win the pennant in 1920, because he got rid of the team.
Yeah.
And why they did not go back to the World Series.
Right.
Based on the grand jury testimony, the next year in 1921, the 8 disgraced ball players and a bunch of the gamblers involved in the fix are all put on trial for rigging the 1919 World Series. I'm talking like they're looking at 5 years in prison.
Yeah.
For evidence, the prosecution has a bunch of signed confessions for the trial. And yet, somehow, those signed confessions all disappear.
Really?
Years later, Chick Gandil says, it was Arnold the Brain Rothstein who made him disappear.
Oh, of course.
But no one knows for certain. What we do know is that by the 1920s, the syndicate in Chicago had bought off judges, lawyers, they had cops and bailiffs on the payroll.
Yeah.
That's the 1920s Chicago we all know and love.
Right.
Okay, maybe it's just me who loves it. But anyway.
I love 1920 Chicago. I love 2025 Chicago.
Same.
I love Chicago.
Same. Anyway, the trial lasts 15 days. None of the players end up testifying. As Chick Gandil recalls it, upon advice of our attorneys, none of us testified. And without our testimony, state had no case. As a result, everyone on trial is acquitted. As Chick Gandil tells it, when the jury finally found us not guilty, there was loud cheering in the courtroom. The jurors even carried us, a few of us, out on their shoulders. Oh, what a scene. In fact, the judge was even seen to be smiling. Like nobody wanted them to be guilty.
Yeah.
So now, here's where the villain of the story comes in my opinion. Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis.
Oh, not Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis.
He's a former federal judge. He was a Teddy Roosevelt guy who'd help bust the trusts.
Right.
So he gets named the first commissioner of baseball because everyone's like, oh, he'll do it. He's a hard-nosed guy. He decides, oh, yeah, watch this. Yeah, I'll be a total hard ass. So to save the honor of baseball, he decides you can't have fixed games. That's bad business. We can't have the suspicion of fixed games. So one of his first official acts is he suspends the Black Sox from baseball for life. They're all banned. This is to scare any other player from ever trying to pull the same stunt.
Sure.
Now, America's pastime is saved.
Right.
And yes, he may have been right and his actions may have saved baseball. I still don't like Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis. Why, Elizabeth? Great question.
Thank you.
Because as commissioner, he was also the man who kept baseball segregated.
Yep.
He banned major league teams from playing against Negro League teams, even as exhibition games, because he feared that if they lost too often to black players, it would be an embarrassment to the white race. So Dizzy Dean and Daffy Dean's exhibition team can't go play Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson.
Right, because they get rocked.
Yeah, so yes, Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis is no hero of mine, even if he saved baseball.
Yeah.
And that, Elizabeth, is how the Chicago White Sox became the Black Sox.
Excellent.
So I got to ask, what's our ridiculous takeaway here?
I think it's interesting when you're saying he saved baseball in that instance, but he almost didn't save it by keeping it segregated.
Totally, yeah.
It saved baseball to bring everybody together to play.
As a professional sport.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and if we're going to call it America's pastime, what I love about baseball is it's contemplative and there are these really like thrilling times.
Totally. No time limit.
No time. God, well, now they have like little clocks on
they
stuff.
got the pitch clock.
But I mean, yeah, you don't know. And like just
Games
to
can
let
last forever.
Innings go until God knows when.
Yeah.
Which I think is fantastic. But also there's like, you don't have to have special equipment to play it.
Kids can play it really easily
with a stick and a ball, and and it can involve a bunch of different kids, and people can get together and play. You can just throw the ball back and forth, but it's something that connects a lot of people. And I mean, you can look at other sports are like that. Soccer's like that. You just need a ball. There you go. Any of those kind of unifying sports, I think, are so important. And then the notion that you have it come to the brink of destruction with greed, which happens over and over again.
We see it over and over again.
But then to save it, but then not want to save it again, and it winds up getting saved by integrating the leagues.
Yeah, Jackie Robinson really saves baseball.
Really does, really does,
totally.
and kind of helps save in some small way America, right? Like we have to be saved from ourselves
constantly,
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
What's your ridiculous takeaway?
One, you reminded me of that baseball has no time limit.
Yeah.
The guy who wrote the book, Shoeless Joe, which became the movie Field of Dreams, he has another book called The Iowa Baseball Confederacy. It's a beautiful book about, if you like baseball, I read it when I was like a young man, like a teenager, and I loved it. He has this game, it takes place in Iowa. It's an exhibition game, and this lasts forever. The game goes on for days because they never end. It just keeps going, and like children are being born. I mean, it's ridiculous. But my actual ridiculous takeaway is this. It's a fun fact that I learned. After he was banned from baseball, do you know where Chick Gandil went?
No.
Of course you don't. I didn't either. No one does. But I learned that after he was banned...
Chick-fil-A.
No, Chick Gandil moved here to Oakland.
Oh, hey.
And for 35 years, he worked as a plumber. So you may have known someone whose family once hired him to unclog their toilet.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go.
That's incredible.
Came all the way home. So you in the mood for a talk back?
I am always in the mood for a talk back.
Talk backs. Oh my God, did he just say that?
OMG.
Hey, Elizabeth, Zaron, and producer D. This is Brian from St. Louis. I was listening to your latest episode earlier today, and when you were discussing whether it was You've Got Another Thing or Another Think Coming, what I thought of was the Judas Priest song, You've Got Another Thing Coming, which came out in 1982. I don't know if that's where the saying came from, but you never know. It's ridiculous either way. You guys keep up the good work. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think that is exactly what I always think of, and I think that's what makes me think it's another thing coming.
Totally. But it's a much older saying. You'll hear it in like the old 30s and 40s
but
movies.
If Rob Halford says it's another thing, okay, biker boy, let's do this.
And now for me, that is what it is.
That is what it is.
As always, you can find us online at Ridiculous Crime on social media. Mostly it's Instagram and Blue Sky. And now we also, by the way, on Instagram, you can see the pictures of these stories we tell. We put up a bunch of great photos and images and also in the stories as well.
Yes,
so
both stories and the posts.
Now, we have also an account, Ridiculous Crime Pod, on YouTube. And there you can, if you prefer listening to your podcast or YouTube, go there, enjoy it. And please like, subscribe, leave a comment. We do love to hear from y'all. We have a website, ridiculouscrime.com. You can go there, get yourself some merch, and we obviously love your talkback, so please go to the iHeart app, download it, leave a talkback, and maybe you get to hear your voice here. We'd love to hear it. Oh, and you can email us if you want to keep it old school. You go tap, beep, bop, bop, and send it off, ridiculouscrime@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next crime. Ridiculous Crime is hosted by Elizabeth Dutton and Zaron Burnett. Produced and edited by Arnold the Brain Rothstein's left-hand man, Dave Kusti. And starring Annalise Rucker as Judith. Research is by OG Brooklyn Trolley Dodgers, Marissa Brown, and Jabari Davis. Our theme song is by the Padre of San Diego, Thomas Lee, and the former Jose Canseco Baseball Camp All-Star, Travis Dutton. Host wardrobe provided by Bonnie 500. Guest hair and makeup by Sparkle Shot and Mr. Andre. Executive producers are Kid Gleason's drinking buddies, Ben Bolin and Noel Brown.
Ridiculous crime.
Say it one more time.
Ridiculous crime.
Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.